those areas down. Now, as I said, this is not a fight that the government will do on its own. We will play our role, but the discipline from the society is very, very important. So therefore, we have been understanding that people need the basics. People need, to get their food and everything. So we had given a bit of relaxation in those areas. But wherever we are seeing that people are not adhering to the protocols, we are closing those sections down. So yes, we have seen this kind of a trend, but by and large, we have seen that people have been compliant, but there have been different cases of areas and markets where people did not follow the protocol, and we are taking stern action and closing those sections down.
It appears that the health department has neglected the 45 plus in the efforts to vaccinate the 18 plus.
That's not true at all. In fact, the vaccines for the 45 plus are available in all the districts, and the vaccination is going on. You have numbers. Anyway, so you want to say something? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good number. He said that 80% of the vaccination centers are still for 45 plus. So therefore, the vaccination program is going on as planned. Of course, there is a large shortage in the supply of the vaccination, and that is what is causing a bit of inconvenience for the people. But we are trying to manage with whatever quota that we're getting. We are hopeful that as we all have 15 crore of vaccines per month, by say July, August. So if those slowly the numbers go up, then we should be able to see the vaccination improve. So we are waiting for the supplies. But this is huge. We have only received, sorry? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we have only received 42,000 shots in plus category. We need 18 plus category. So we still need 29.5 lakh shots for the 18 plus category. 18 to 45. That the NHM directorate, they will accordingly plan. I don't have the details with me, but I'm sure that the information will be given out in public very soon.
So how far this is true, like encouraging home isolation of positive patients, COVID patients who are asymptomatic, is the cause that led to this spike in cases in the state?
You see, home isolation has got its own plus and own minuses. The plus point is that obviously person is at the comfort of the home, the asymptomatic, the inconvenience is not there. You have to understand when a person has to stay for 10, 14 days isolation in a new location, it does become emotionally very, very stressful for the individual. So therefore, in the first half, we saw people, last year in the first wave, we saw people mostly because of the fear. A lot of people did not go to home and they went for the isolation centers given by the government. But this year, we saw a lot of people going for home isolation, and we have been encouraging home isolation because there's obviously logistical challenges are there when we have large quarantine centers and isolation centers. So it does make a lot of sense even from a logistics point of view. But yes, the point that if the protocols are broken at house, if the individuals who are positive don't contain themselves in the room that they're meant to be, and still mix around with the rest of the family members, then obviously the virus will spread. And that's the reason why we are stressing this whole week on a very aggressive program to stress on this entire program of ensuring that protocols are followed even when you're in the house. So you need to wear the mask, and especially people who are positive, they need to ensure that they don't mix with anybody. But at the same time, we also realize that there are a lot of places and houses and individuals who don't have the extra room to spare. And that's the reason why last week we've decided that government will support community centers if they come up, and that will be decided by the respective BDOs and the DCs, which area requires, along with the headmans and the local leaders, on which areas should have these community centers. So that's a kind of a double kind of pronged strategy we have gone ahead with this. But yes, what you're saying has got a lot of points in it, in the sense that if the protocols are not followed at home, and if the people take it easy, they're home, so they're relaxed, and they mix with everybody, then yes, that's what's leading to the spread. Even because whenever the cases come out, we're finding that the whole family is turning out to be positive. So clearly,
sir,
that's an indication.
So, sir, is the government considering to segregate these COVID patients from, stop this home isolation and
No, that's what I've mentioned to you. I've already replied that. Point is that if the individuals have the space in their house, then it makes logical sense from all angles to be in the house. But when you're in the house, you need to ensure that you isolate yourself. You can't mix with everybody. But then there are cases where people don't have the additional rooms, and the economically weaker section will face those problems. And realizing that, we have decided to support community centers. Wherever the community is willing to give a space, government will give some kind of a financial support, and the BDO and the DC will decide on which centers are to be supported and to be opened up, and based on that, we will support from the government side. So we're going for both strategies out here. Yes, we have, I don't have the entire picture with me right now, but in all these centers which I just mentioned to you, for example, Jowai and Nongpo and Tura, the oxygen plants are going to be set up in the next 1 week. They have enough beds. Enough means, well, there's never enough, but we will be enhancing the number of beds out there, which will be supported by oxygen. So close to about maybe 40 exactly, depending on the size of the plant, which I don't have details with me right now, but anything between 30 to 50 beds in every district. The major districts will have, in the civil hospital, will have oxygen supported beds. This is a high flow oxygen I'm talking about. And in places like Tura, we have already sanctioned and given the work order for the 100-bedded COVID facility, which will also have all 100 beds with oxygen. Obviously, we'll have to fill it up with cylinders and put it there. Similarly, in Jowai also, so similarly in Jowai and Nongpo, also somewhere there'll be civil hospitals, somewhere we're going for the MCH, the Mother and Child Hospital. So depending on the locations, so you're right, we have realized this importance of ensuring that the rural infrastructures also are upgraded. So this work for this has started almost about 2 weeks back. And now, as I said, the work as we speak is going on, and we're hopeful that 3-4 locations, as I mentioned just now, the oxygen plants will be up in about a week's time, and then the other 3-4 locations in about 2 weeks' time. So almost all the district headquarters will have some form of oxygen-supported beds to ensure that if there's any kind of district situation, then at least basic facilities are there for the people. It's not a hospital, it's a facility. It's a COVID facility. This will be ready by July. As I said, the work order has already been given. The locations are already being prepared. And these are prefab structures. These are more like boxes, which are ready-made. They come ready-made, and they just fit it right there. They have got full air circulation systems in it. They have got ICU facility options in it. So each of these beds, facilities will have 10% of the ICU beds in them. So this should be up in max 30 to 45 days is what we're looking at. That means by July. See, nobody can predict it because it's not something that that we have got a a cycle or we've got a formula for this. It's very difficult to predict. But seeing what's happening in the rest of the country today, seeing that 3 to 4 weeks time to around 5 weeks time, you see suddenly things do start flattening down. Now, will that apply to us? We don't know yet, but we're hopeful that it will. And obviously, we have to also see that, as I said, it's not that the lockdown, we have it today, and tomorrow the numbers come down. It takes time for that trend to take place. And more importantly, vaccination is something that's very critical. So we are really pushing. I had a telephonic conversation with Dr. Harshvardhan yesterday, and I requested him that our state is population is not as large, so maybe a strategy is population is not as large, so maybe a strategy of Northeast could be one way to ensure that at least few circles and few states and regions become fully vaccinated. So I'm hopeful that we'll get a positive response for that. Even if we don't get a full vaccination, we're hopeful that we'll get more than what is being allotted to us right now. So I put in that request to the Honorable Minister. So vaccination is going to be a key part of our strategy. But while that happens, containment and really preventive process is the only way to really fight this. We need to carry on with our lives, but at the same time, we need to ensure that we take the basic precautions. And if we do that, then we will be able to see that the trends will go down. But if you ask me for a date, it's not possible to give that. But we have seen that the trends do go down once the lockdown starts in about 4 to 5 weeks' time. So let's hope that we'll see some kind of a trend like that for us, for our state also.
Because you're looking after finance, I want to ask you how difficult it has been for the...
Maybe come out with a separate press release, giving you the exact details so that, the clarity is there. So you can just make a note of that. You can tell finance to just prepare the details. So yes, the expenditure was 400 crores, which you mentioned. But things were very chaotic. And there was no time to really decide or think whether it's the right or the wrong thing. We had to pay for people coming back. We had to pay for the people to stay. We had to pay for the doctors and the other people in the hospitals to stay in the hotels. So we really, at that point in time, the whole country, in fact, faced with an unforeseen kind of a situation. And that led us to really making sure that we don't leave any stone unturned. Now, this year, I'm not saying it gives us a kind of a blueprint on what to do, not to do, but at least it gives us some kind of an idea of where we could manage things better, where we could, reduce our cost. Does that mean that we'll compromise on the health of the people? Absolutely not. That's the reason why when we were put up the question of spending money for the vaccination, we said immediately, no question asked, 100 crores we will spend to get the vaccination. It is absolutely worth it. When it came to setting up the infrastructure, we said that no question asked in a much better manner, where we could minimize our expenditures, saying cut cost is not the correct word, but because we realized also that closing things down, livelihood of the people, and somewhere we need to find a balance. When we realized that the growth rate was moving in a line where by May 12th, we expected that we'll touch 5,000. Today is May 17th. So I don't know if you remember, I gave you these projections that time also. So we managed to be on 7,000, 8,000, maybe even 10 beds and continue the restrictions in the way it is and urge the citizens of our state to ensure that they follow the protocols so that we can, slow down the spread of this virus and move ahead with our vaccine. The society and the state works together. We are sure that we'll be able to overcome this very difficult phase of maybe 2 to 3 weeks where we share, but we hope that we will see things improve once this particular.
So a certain section of people who are like a taxi driver, who are,
we call them, that come in is something that's thing for us. So I'm hopeful that I'm sure the DRDO is very, very efficient and they must have done their homework and research come out with this medication, but it's restricted use, only for emergency use. So only in hospitals it'll be available and only for patients who are, in a serious situation. So therefore, let us see and hope that it comes out, that it has the desired impact. And if it does, then it will be a great blessing for not just the COVID patients, but society as a whole, as a whole.
Can I ask now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, despite the initiatives taken by this government, as you have enlightened us just now, but one of your coalition partners, one of the coalition partner, the UDP, had come out in the newspaper stating that the NDA government has failed.
I don't have any comments on the senior coalition partner. He has said his comments at his own personal level. But I would like to say here that this is not about failing or succeeding or who's doing things right or wrong. This is a situation where we all are in it, whether we like it or not. And really, if you were to condemn and look at every single act as being wrong and always finding a fault in every situation, it really doesn't help right now. We're not trying here to win war or battle with each other. It's a battle we are fighting against an enemy that's condemning or finding faults. There is really no perfect solution. Sometimes we go right, then the person who would be wanting to criticize, they say, why did you go right? You should have gone left. So blame game. This is not the time to find faults, but this is a time for positive suggestions. And we have to inform them and you that we have taken those suggestions in a positive manner, and most of those suggestions have already been implemented. In fact, we'll be talking about that on Wednesday. So therefore, my appeal to not just the politicians, but even to to society at large, that let us avoid criticism. We have a WhatsApp group on oxygen management. This WhatsApp group on oxygen management has got all the hospital and the other ministers also on it, and the chief secretary, and certain officials from the transport, from police. And at any given time, this whole group knows that how many cylinders are there right now in Nazareth. In the hospital, the cylinders are going down. Can we borrow from Supercare for some time? Because the stock for Supercare is coming by 6 o'clock in the evening. The driver who's bringing it. This kind of a coordination that is going on today has helped us to be able to manage whatever cylinders we had in the last, 700 cylinders we had in the last 2-3 weeks, and now we had 1,500 levels. I'm not here to share with you all those things because it'll take too much of time. But what I'm trying to say, look at it. But this is not the time, as I said, to criticize everything that government does. We're not saying we're doing everything correct. We could be making mistakes. That's natural because it's a very complicated situation we're facing. But it doesn't it affects an officer who has been not sleeping at all. And so please be understanding that and please support. It's only when we all work together can we fight the situation, is what my...
One memorandum to you. Free of cost treatment through this MIS card.
It's already been done for COVID expenditure since last year, not just this year, it's last year only.
And the roaming fund.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to bring to your notice, in Jongsha village, people are moving out despite testing positive. 79 people have tested positive. The BDO has failed to contain the area. What step has the government taken on this?
I'm not aware about this particular development, but obviously, if that is the case, we will take necessary action in that, and we'll ensure that the containment takes place. The BDOs have been given the power to contain zones which they feel need to be contained, and therefore, if there are people who are not implementing it and not following these orders, then necessary action will have to be taken, and we'll ensure that we take all the local headmen and local representatives on board.
Because
and
according to this tweet, which this person had tagged you also, in fact, one of our journalist friend, he said the BDO has not only failed in his duty, but is putting other villages at risk. So, like he had
said, press, but I'm saying that I can't reply to this, this thing. So I've taken a note of that, and I'll tell the necessary BDO as well as the DC to take necessary action on that.
Thank you.
So health, is the questions over? Yeah, you were asking me something else?